First of all, a quick fitness update, if you would. I think Liam Williams and Ellis Jenkins are probably the main issues. How are they getting along?
Yeah, in fairness, we had some good news with Liam last week. He was back training with us, which is great to have someone of his experience and quality back in the group. Was a huge positive, and we're hoping for Ellis to be up and running this week, which would be a good thing for us.
Is Liam ready to be straight back into action after an operation against the best side in the world?
Well, in fairness, we're fully aware that that would be a big ask of Liam, but he's doing everything he can to be available. He's ticking every box, but obviously you do need some volume in the legs as well.
In terms of what you've got available to you, how do you rate your selection, given that you've got 7 English-based players not available at the moment?
Yeah, no, we obviously knew that was going to be the case a long time ago, and from my perspective, I'm very confident and comfortable with what we have in the playing group. We have a huge amount of experience, a lot of talent, and there's going to be opportunities for players, and that's what you want, and you want your players to make the most of those opportunities.
I guess fly half and back three are probably your thinnest areas at the moment. In terms of fly half, what about the task ahead of Gareth Hansen and Rhys Priestland in returning to international rugby after quite long breaks in both cases?
Yeah, obviously different situations. Obviously Rhys was across in England, and Gareth just not long come back after a very nasty injury, but they're both training very, very well. Already, they've got wonderful experience, and both those guys be looking forward to getting back in the stadium in front of a full house, which is going to be special for all of us.
Yeah, I guess Gareth, along with maybe Johnny McNichol and Willis Halaholo, particularly keen to be involved this week against the country of their birth.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they'd all like to put the jersey on, as is always the case with any of our players. When you're playing a superb team like New Zealand, who we have utmost respect for, but ultimately you're playing for Wales, in the best stadium in the world in front of a full house. Doesn't get much better than that.
How much is that going to make to perception, given that you've played in front of fairly sparse crowds in the summer because of the rules at the time, and as you say, no crowds at all last season? No,
you're right, and we had some great occasions last season in the Six Nations. Obviously successful against Ireland and England at home, and unfortunate for the fans, they couldn't be there in the stadium to share those wonderful experiences. But obviously now things have opened back up and we're back to normality, so it's going to be a brilliant occasion for everyone concerned. Let's hope so. What did you make of New Zealand at the weekend against the USA with a much changed side? Yeah, obviously it confirms the strength they have in depth. We knew that before that game. Obviously, a lot of our analysis has gone into the games they played against Argentina, Australia, and South Africa, in fairness. But we knew, obviously, they're very, very clinical, and they transition well in defence and attack. That was just confirmed on the weekend. 68 years, if my maths are right, and counting for Wales against New Zealand. How do you fancy your chances of being history boys? Yeah, we're looking forward to it. As I said, the key for us is we get our own house in order. We enjoy what we do. We built a game plan which we're excited with. The key for us is to transfer that to the pitch against, as I said before, a team we've got a huge amount of respect for, but we've got a huge amount of belief in our ability, and it's about us transferring that to the pitch on Saturday. Diolch yn fawr, pob lwc. Diolch yn fawr iawn.
Hi, Stephen. Touched on Gareth Hansen there, obviously a player you haven't had the opportunity to work with until now. What have been your first impressions of working with Gareth?
Obviously, a very knowledgeable player, understands the game inside out, obviously very driven, which you have to be to have come back from an incredibly tough injury, and that's huge credit for his professionalism and his attitude. And, he's been excellent in training, sets high standards, and he's been a pleasure to work with.
What are the particular qualities in his game that you enjoy?
I think he sees space very well. He understands how the structure and the use of the structure can give and create space. he's a very smart rugby player.
And just on Rhys, I spoke to him in pre-season. He said he didn't know if he was able to still do it at international level. What has he done to convince you and the other coaches that he can still cut it at the top level?
Oh, it's very simple. Rhys's decision making has always been very, very good. He's always been smart on the ball. Regarding his kicking game, we know that's top draw, but for me, it's his decision making on the ball and bringing others into play. And Rhys has demonstrated that with Cardiff this year.
Obviously, you were in the squad as a player back when he was coming through. How much of a different player do you think he is now compared to that guy who went to the World Cup in 2011? Well,
he was in 2011 he was playing some excellent rugby, and the experiences he's had of going to play in a different league as well with different players, and leading Bath's attack for a number of years, and coming back and sharing the experiences he's had and his knowledge with players has been key. But incredibly smart player, and understands how to manage a team's energy.
And just lastly from me, obviously last time he played for Wales and when he left a few years ago, he took a lot of stick in the press and before he went to England, and some stick from fans as well. What did you make of all that, and what sort of impact do you think that might have had on him in recent years?
I think Rhys has got a lot of resilience in him. He's an incredibly smart player. He sets incredibly high standards for himself, and he'll be looking forward to going back to the stadium, and the Welsh public are very appreciative of his skill set, and it's going to be a wonderful occasion, isn't it, for him and Gareth.
Cheers, Steve.
Absolute pleasure.
Hi, Steve. Will here. How's it going?
How are we doing? You well?
Yeah, good, thank you. Just looking back at your own career, I think you played the All Blacks about 12 times for Wales. What are your particular memories of that? I mean, I know it's been a while since Wales have beaten them, but are there any moments that stand out about the games against them?
Yeah, we had some fantastic games against them. I think it's 12 occasions, including the Lions, but some memorable games with Wales. A couple of real tight games in the stadium, which went to the wire. And I remember very, very physical affairs, which is what you expect and what you enjoy. But really enjoyed playing New Zealand on each one of those occasions, because you set your standards and you want to be the best, and it's what playing the game is about.
Talk to me about the 2008 standoff. What are your memories of that when they did the haka and you stood your ground?
Yeah, no, we've got a huge amount of respect for the haka, because it's absolutely amazing, and you enjoy it as a player watching the guys do the haka. And obviously on that occasion we were going to stand our ground, and it did seem an eternity, if I'm honest, because I know the ref was asking us to move and neither side would move. I certainly got the crowd excited as well.
Feels a little bit like asking about the roofs, because we talk about it every time they come up here. But do you think that teams should challenge the haka? I mean, that's kind of the intention of it originally, isn't it?
I think it's non-negotiable that the haka should be respected, because it's fantastic. We all love it, and that'll be our philosophy: respect the haka and everything that goes with it, and look forward to the next 80 minutes of rugby after that.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Pleasure.
Hi, Steve. It's Alex here.
Hey, Alex.
Hiya. Can I just check what you said about Ellis Jenkins? You said you're hoping to get him up and running next week. Does that sort of rule him out of this weekend?
No, not at all. So he'll be training with us today, but it's a matter of ticking various boxes as the week goes along. So doing contact, obviously running integration with the team, then the contact element, then building up for the end of the week.
And if he weren't to make it, I guess that sort of leaves Tane Basham as a 7. He's obviously a young and talented player. I mean, do you see him as someone who's ready for such an occasion?
I think if you look at Tane and you look at the way he's playing for the Dragons this year, and the way he's improved his game and worked hard at his game, he deserves a huge amount of credit. And he's a young man who's getting better week on week, and no doubt, whoever plays at 7, they will love the challenge and embrace it on what's ahead on the Saturday.
Matt asked you about Gareth Hansen. It's obviously great to see him back. I'm sure you've noticed that when he's played for the Ospreys so far, he's often defended in backfield and at the line out. Is that something that you feel is necessary for him to protect his knee? And is that replicable at test level?
That's probably a better question for Gethin Jenkins than myself. All I know is that he's fully fit, he's up and running, he's done everything with us. There's no need for protection regarding his knee. He's good to go, just from a physical aspect.
And just lastly on him, he must be sort of the sort of player that's really going to fit perfectly the style of player that you've tried to implement in the last sort of 2 years since you've taken over.
He's we're well blessed with outside halves, and we've got different styles within the four, which is great for us, and enables us to be able to shape defenses in different manners. So yes, Gareth brings a different skill set to the table, and for us all, it's as a group, it's exciting because it's how we utilize various players at different occasions, and that's what you want, isn't it? Different competition in the squad.
Great, thank you.
Absolute pleasure.
Hi, Stephen. Neil here. I just wanted to ask about the All Blacks. Do they carry an aura that no other side in world rugby do? And if that's the case, how do you go about confronting that?
I think from my end, and obviously I haven't played against them a number of times, you just respect them for what they are. It's a very efficient rugby side. From a coach's perspective, then you break things down analytically, and you build a game plan which you believe maximizes what you've got in your playing group. But from our end, we've got to make sure that we bring our A game on Saturday, but a very accurate game, and we have to be very smart in the way we play, because, as I said at the start of this, huge amount of respect for them, and rightly so. But we got to make sure we do everything we can in our power to be as efficient as we can on Saturday.
So you can't regard them as supermen or some sort of superman?
No, listen, huge amount of respect, and rightly so, because it's been earned. But on Saturday, it's about us transferring what we can do to the game.
Thanks, Stephen.
Hey there, Stephen. You were top try scorers back in the Six Nations. I just wondered, from an attacking perspective, what you're looking for to develop and improve during this autumn campaign.
Yeah, I think that was the past, and there was progression made. The reality of it is we have to improve and develop again. There'll be some opportunities for some new players to play our style of play, and it's making sure we have more than one string to our bow when we attack. We have to have variety. We have to understand how defences will set up against us. We have to understand where the space is, and that's a collective responsibility. And we have to challenge ourselves to improve in that manner, so that we can be as efficient as we can.